When I submit my final voice acting audio to a project or client, I normally record multiple takes per line to give to them, as should you. This, however, can make an editor's job less fun, where they have to now sit through and listen to an entire file in order to find which line and take that they need, and where each new line begins. So what I do, in order to help out whoever is editing my lines, is to attach timestamps to the start of each new line. If you only have 1 or 2 lines, the timestamps could be manually found or may not be necessary. But if you have, say, 70 lines, a way to automatically search through your audio and find where each new line starts is extremely beneficial. The way this tool works is it uses Audacity's built-in label sounds feature in order to apply labels to a gap of silence between each new line that is created during the editing process. Then, I use a tool I created in Excel VBA to leverage how Audacity stores text files in order to find the midpoint between the gaps of silence between each new line. Then, the Excel file compiles all these timestamps for each line and copies it to your clipboard automatically, so you can just paste it in to Discord as a formatted code block. Hello, this is just a little tutorial on how I create these timestamps for the audio that I submit to people when I voice act. So I use this tool, which you can find on my GitHub under the VO timestamp compiler for Audacity label files for Discord uploadability. Who the fuck named that? Let us talk about how to set up the file for this macro. Let's say you have your Audacity file. What I do is when I go through, I have each of these lines. This is...
What? I didn't break it! What? I didn't break it!
You can see they are all the exact same line. What? I didn't break it, what? I didn't break it, and then so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. And we get a half second of silence before we get a new line.
Because it's sitting right in front of us, and it's broken?
Right? A new line, new line, new line, and then half second of silence, these new lines, half second of silence, different lines, you get the gist. That is how I set up my Audacity file in order to do this. Now, also on my GitHub are these Audacity macros for silence insertion between clip boundaries. Wow. It sounds so professional. It's not. So in order to get these clips, these half seconds of silence, I have this silence inserter set to I just have to hit, if I go to Tools, Apply Macro, this numpad 6. Never mind the fact that I named it weird and have backend editor. These are the same things. Silence inserter is this, whatever I called it, backend editor 2. It's the same file. I just named it nicely for other people instead of trying to figure out the difference between 1 and 1s. But if I click that, it inserts half second of silence between things. That is what I'm using when I'm editing. Now, in order to get this in between every single clip here, I'm going to hit select the track. Let me just delete this one. Select the track, J on the keyboard. You're going to go to Tools, Apply Macro. In this example, I'm just going to be applying the half second silence inserter, 25x. Wherever it is. I swear it's the same macro. And then we wait, and it's going to insert half second of silence between every single clip. And if there is half a second between each different line, we can extrapolate that out, and that's going to be now, after this macro runs. Just hit Control-2 on my keyboard real quick. Control-2. This just zoom normal. Control-2 is zoom normal. You see there's now half second of silence between every single clip here. And between our lines, we have 1.5 seconds of silence. So, Audacity has a feature where we can search for a certain profile of sound and label it. So in order to profile our sound like that, we're going to select our track, select all the audio, and go to Analyze, and then go to Label Sounds. Now, this threshold level, you might need to dial it for yourself. For me, it
I found it worked at negative 45 decibels. You may need to tweak it for yourself. I've had to tweak it in the past, raise it, lower it a little bit to dial it in. Now, because I'm using this half-second silence between each clip, I'm going to be looking for 1.5 seconds. I like to set it just a little bit shorter, so to 1.3 seconds, just to make sure there's a bit of a buffer. If a little bit of sound bleeds through and Audacity thinks that it's not perfect, it's not going to just ignore it. Set your minimum silence duration, set your minimum label interval, the label type. So I'm just having a peak level of the threshold measurement, and then the region between sounds for the label type. I don't really care about leading and trailing silences. And then the label text, this is fine. You can change this. The double hash means it counts every single time, and it starts from 1. I can actually change that and start from 0. Actually, start from 2. It's probably what I should be doing. And we hit apply. And now, if we scroll, see, it starts 2, 3, 4, and oop, we can see that it caught this silence right here, and it thinks that this is a break. Now, we know that this is not a break. This should obviously tell you that you do have to double check what Audacity does. Now, in order to delete this, you can't just select this label and then hit delete, because if you do that, it deletes the audio too. So what we have to do is you gotta click in this text box, right click, and then hit delete label. That's the easiest way to do it. And we keep on scrolling, making sure we have everything checked, and that is everything checked. Now, let's say I have room tone in my thing, so I'm going to submit with room tone. If I were to submit with room tone, I would be adding it back over here at the very end of my clip. I'm talking and it's recording that, but imagine this is background noise. I'm going to add it at the very end of my clip. This allows the Excel file to work. I have it written right there. Please make sure you have the background noise at the very end of your recording. Now, we do not have background noise, so we'll just do that. J on the keyboard, and then we're going to select our label track. Make sure you got to select it. And if you have multiple label tracks, Audacity does like to combine them. So either delete other label tracks to only have this label track, or edit the text file that will be outputting right now to only have these timestamps. So let's select our Audacity file. We will go to File, Export Other, and then Export Labels. You can see I set this up to be a custom keyboard shortcut. So Export Labels, and then I always have it labeled as Labels 1. I just keep it default, hit Save. It already exists. I hit Yes and Overwrite. We will see why in a minute. But it allows you just to speed up the process in getting these labels exported. And then, of course, you select your thing, Control-Shift-E, and you export your Audacity file to wherever you're exporting. Then, we're going to head over to our line reader. Now, it should open on default. It should just, when you open the file, it should just run. I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to walk you through what this happens. So, when this first happens, when you first open the file, you're going to get this thing. You're going to spinning mouse. You're going to, do you wish to have data written to your keyboard? Warning, this action will clear all contents on your clipboard. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a huge warning. Sometimes it doesn't delete all your contents on the clipboard. Sometimes it does. Roll the dice. We're just going to hit cancel for right now, because I want to show you guys setting a default path. So this default path is what I was doing earlier. When I exported this as labels 1, instead of renaming this to whatever file or whatever project I'm doing, I just have it labeled as labels1 because I can set this to a default path. Or if I just click this and I go to Audacity, labels1, I hit open, done. I should add a confirmation. I should add a confirmation thing saying it's done, but I can do that later. So it has now set that as a default path. So now when I hit run, let me hit run. So now it says, do you wish to have data written to your clipboard? If you don't know what a clipboard is, this is what it is. I'm gonna hit no. I'm gonna hit Windows V. I don't know what it is for Mac, but in Windows V, you can see this is your clipboard. It is everything you have copied in the past bit. Bunch of random stuff. You can see I was working on the GitHub. That is your clipboard. So it's going to clear all, and it's going to upload the timestamps to your clipboard. So we're going to hit run. I'm going to say, yes, I want it to have my clipboard clear. Yes. Is this the regular file or the default file? Yes. In this case, it is. So we're going to hit yes. Do you have background noise? No. I need a space there. Timestamps copy to clipboard. You can see that timestamps are now in this AB, in these AB columns. It has lines 1 through 4, all the timestamps, and it copied it to my clipboard. So if I hit Windows V, you can see it didn't actually clear it this time, but it copied these timestamps to my clipboard. So if I go to here, and I hit Control V, boom, timestamps are pasted in, and if I hit enter, it pastes in just like this. That is how the macro works. Now, let's talk about different features this macro has. Let's hit clear. If I hit run, and I say, no, I don't want to copy it. This is the regular file. It's not the regular file. Let's see what if it's not the regular file. If I hit no, it will allow me to select which file I want to select. Let's do labels 2, because I think it works with this. Do you have background noise? Let's just hit no. So now you see it exports these timestamps. Boom. On the different file. If I say, yes, I do have background noise, you will see that this final line gets renamed to room tone. And then from here, I did not copy it, but if I hit copy, it will just copy to my clipboard. And it does clear contents when you do that sometimes. That is the macro. Popping at the end here. One little thing to mention is, what if you want to do this final thing, this final step, and you're like, oh, I don't like it adding these 3 little hashes, Windows V, these 3 little hashes at the beginning of my clip when I do this. I don't upload to Discord, and every single time I have to hit Control V, and then I have to hit backspace, and then hit backspace like that. That's annoying. I don't want to do that every single time. How do I change that? So, in Excel, this is a macro-enabled workbook. So you have the ability to write code in here. That's what makes this work. Now, how do I write code? I use this developer tab. All right. Now, if this is your first time, if you have never done coding in Excel before, you're probably not going to have a developer tab. So how do you find the developer tab? If we go to File, and we go to all the way down here at Options, and we click Options, and then we go to Customize Ribbon, we will see this Customize Ribbon tab, and you might have this developer unchecked. Make sure you check it. And then you hit OK. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want it to refresh everything. Then, in the Developer tab, you're going to have this tab, this Visual Basic. If you click this, you get code. Amazing. Wow. If you've never seen VBA before, this is probably a mess to you. But if you go and you click this modules, and you hit module 1, that's what this code is in. If you want to get rid of the 3 dashes, you're going to scroll and you're going to look for these sub thing. It's going to be all the way at the very left end of the thing. So you can just check your cursor to make sure there's end private. I don't know what that means. I assume you say. And we're going to get this one, which is called copy ranged Discord. We're going to find this. You can see I was very lazy with my comment naming scheme. But this sub copy range for Discord. I'm in here. You can see I gave a little comment here on just if you're doing this on your own, how do you do it? If you want to suppress this line, which is these 3 dashes and then hitting enter, and then adding these 3 dashes to the very end of your table, the range that you're copying to your clipboard, all you have to do is hit an apostrophe on your keyboard on this first clip text and click off, and then go to this bottom clip text and hit apostrophe and then delete that apostrophe. That's it. But that is how you do that. And then hit save up here. And you can hit escape. There you go. Thank you for watching the tutorial. I know it went a little bit in-depth and a little bit fast. Hopefully you understood a lot of it. Thank you. Bye.